Esperanto Basics Simplified for English Speakers. Second lesson. This will be the second lesson in a series intended for English speakers to learn the Esperanto language in what I hope will be a simplified way, being able to take advantage of your massive English vocabulary in order to practice what you learn of the Esperanto language instead of having to wait until you've learned enough Esperanto to be able to hold a conversation to start practicing. Esperanto is somewhat unique in that it is possible to actually do that with it. So on we go. Esperanto Basics Simplified for English Speakers. Second lesson. Plurals in Esperanto. As in the first lesson, italics will be used to show Esperanto text as we replace or augment English words. In this lesson, it should be quite obvious why the Esperanto parts are being written in these lessons in a way which easily distinguishes them from non-Esperanto. Many written letters can be pronounced in spoken Esperanto exactly as you would pronounce them in spoken English without causing a problem. However, the phonetic rules in Esperanto are much simpler than in English. So you might already have guessed that some letters will not be pronounced at all like you would expect when reading English. As an English speaker, you have the advantage of already being used to pronouncing one letter more than one way, depending on what word it's in. So learning how to pronounce a letter using the Esperanto phonetics should be no problem. There's only one sound for each letter in Esperanto. It's the same sound no matter what word it shows up in. So just think of it as learning a word that came into English from a foreign language. In this case, there's some Esperanto connections to it, and pronounce the Esperanto parts as you would in Esperanto. You will learn how to read them phonetically as we go along. Remember from the first lesson that nouns are marked in Esperanto by an O ending. Now again, in Esperanto, the same letter is always pronounced the same way. You may have a particular accent that causes you to pronounce it differently than another person, but just be consistent and they'll figure it out. So O is always O. It's not A or O or any of the other things that it can end up being in the English language. It's just O. The cat becomes la kato, or in pure Esperanto, la kato. The letter we know in English as J is pronounced in Esperanto like the English letter Y. It is called the letter yo and is used to form a plural ending. So the cats becomes la katoi, or in pure Esperanto, la katoi. And the big cats becomes la grandai katoi. Or of course, if you'd like to mix your English in as we did before, la bigai katoi. Notice that in Esperanto, the adjective granda is made plural to match the noun it modifies, becoming grandai. While you could say la grand katoi or la granda katoi and be understood, keep in mind that Esperanto allows the word ordering of many languages, so number agreement between nouns and adjectives may sometimes help to avoid confusion. Notice that some English words also have endings which tell what part of speech a word is, although less reliably than in Esperanto. For example, the ly in rapidly marks it as an adverb form of rapid, and the Full in beautiful is one of many endings in English that often mark a word as an adjective. So, the beautiful flowers could become la beautiae floweroi while you're practicing. Or better yet, use the full Esperanto phrase la bellae floroi if you can remember enough Esperanto words. For practice, the dogs becomes la dogoi, and the big cats could be practiced as la bigai catoi, while the big dogs would become la bigai dogoi. Remember, it would be la grandai hundoi in pure Esperanto. Or you could say la hundoi grandai if you prefer. Speak in the order you know, or practice another order that you might encounter. Either way, now you know enough to practice a little more. Point at some things and say la walloi talai, la caroi greenai, la shedoi woodai, to mean the tall walls, the green cars, the wooden sheds, or the wood sheds. Take turns with a friend, translating each other. Or if nobody will practice with you, practice alone. So when you're ready to learn more, you won't have forgotten what you had already learned.